Hello everyone, in this video we are going to see day 7 of our 15 days timetable, important points for the day 7 timetable. Day 7 covers again 6 topics, it is a 6-hour timetable. First 3 topics are from oral pathology and the last 3 topics are from anatomy. So under oral pathology we will be covering benign and malignant tumors, odontogenic cysts and tumors, diseases of salivary gland. Under anatomy, osteology, nerve supply of head and neck, vascular supply of head and neck. So from all these topics you will be covering these basic points when you are reading the MCQ. So from benign and malignant tumors you have to know the names of almost all the important benign tumors and the malignant tumors. The basic difference between a benign and malignant tumor, there will be a table or some classification will be there. You have to read the well capsulated, not capsulated and so on. So the table you should completely read. Then what is a pseudocyst? Oral potentially malignant disorders. The complete list of oral potentially malignant disorders you should know, because there are many terminologies under OPMD. Earlier it was precancerous lesion and precancerous disorder like that, and finally now the terminology is OPMD. So under OPMD what all comes under it is very important. Then lastly, squamous cell carcinoma, the etiology, the presentation and everything, the TNM staging, the last recent modifications in the TNM staging, everything you should know. And lastly, a little bit about leukoplakia's classification and what is an ossifying fibroma. Next topic is odontogenic cysts and tumors. So under that you have to mainly read about the periapical cyst or radicular cyst, then dentigerous cyst, ameloblastoma and cementoosseous dysplasia. What is the difference between an OKC and dentigerous cyst under radiological presentation is also very important. Then under diseases of salivary gland you have to go through silolithiasis. Imaging of salivary gland is very important. You have to read about the silography, what all components you will be using for a silography, and what is a silogog, example of silogog, what is an antisilogog, an example of antisilogog, Sjogren syndrome, the types of it and the features of Sjogren syndrome, then salivary gland tumor, and lastly as I mentioned under imaging, specifically silography you have to read when you are reading the imaging of salivary gland. The next is the anatomy topic, osteology. So from osteology you have to read completely about all the foramens, the names of the foramen and structure passing through it. Whenever there is any mnemonic for foramen, please go through the mnemonics of foramen. Then what is an intramembranous and endochondral ossification? Under the skull bone, what all bones come under intramembranous and what all comes under endochondral ossification? Then what are Vermean bones, where is it present? What are the different types of craniosynostosis, at what age craniosynostosis happen, at which region, and what are the different paranasal sinuses and anatomic location related to paranasal sinus, and cavernous sinus, dural folds. What is stereon and its significance, what is asterion and its significance, and lastly the cervical vertebra, especially the foramen transversoria. You have to know what all cervical vertebra are typical and what all are atypical cervical vertebra. Next topic is nerve supply of head and neck. Under nerve supply you have to know the names of all the 12 cranial nerves, and specifically you should know the branches of facial nerve, the branches of trigeminal nerve, then the nerve supply of facial muscle, mastication muscle, nerve supply of tongue, soft palate, pharynx, larynx, and what are the different ganglions like aortic ganglion, submandibular ganglion, ciliary ganglion, and what does it supply, and what is the nerve root for that particular ganglion, and lastly about ansa cervicalis, where do you get the root and what it supplies. And the last topic is vascular supply of head and neck. So under vascular supply of head and neck you should know about external carotid artery, common carotid artery, internal carotid artery, the source and the branches of each. Then maxillary artery, the branches of maxillary artery, what is Kieselbach plexus and what does it comprises. Then about cavernous sinus, here about the sinus drainage you should know, where it drains. Then circle of Willis, what all constitutes circle of Willis, what is vertebral artery and what is basilar artery. Then the carotid sinus and carotid body, what is the difference and where is the location of carotid sinus and carotid body. Thank you.